Five, four, three, two. You're hot.
With all due honor and praise to the Most High, we worship Thee through the divine image of our wives. Amen. Welcome to the Horseman podcast. This is a special episode. I know it's not Sunday, so whoever's lucky enough to catch this, they catch it. I just got back into town, so I wanted to chop it up with the people. We're gonna try to get Jay on the phone shortly. See what he got to talk about. But yeah, I wanted to get with you guys and kind of chop it up. A lot's been going on for the past couple of weeks, and I missed a few weeks. So yeah, man, let's get after it. Let's get after it. Let's get after it. So first order of business, um, I want you guys to watch something that I watched. It's called Dope Sick. It's on Hulu, and I think it's important for people to watch it. And it's all about the pharmaceutical companies. It's all about big pharma and what they've done with narcotics and opioids. And the reason why I want people to watch it, I know everybody's known about the so-called opioid crisis and what's that meant to like mining communities and suburban communities and basically white communities. So we all know what's been going on. This form of heroin, synthetic heroin that these people are ODing on, and that's not even to get into fentanyl and what that's done. But I want people to watch this and pay attention to the language that they're using. Um, the language that these pharmaceutical companies created. You know, a lot of the stuff that you're hearing today was language created by pharmaceutical companies. Um, things like breakthrough cases. Uh, these are words that they created in order to get people to use more medication. They use words like breakthrough pain. There was no example or scientific basis for breakthrough pain. That's not something that you find in medical books. That's not something you find in the DSM. That's not something you find in literature where breakthrough pain is a thing. They created the word or the phrase breakthrough pain in order for doctors to double up on the prescriptions to get people to take more pain pills. Now, this is actual fact. You can look it up. So, when you're listening to these media outlets, these corporate based um, media conglomerates, when you're listening to them and they say stuff like breakthrough cases, this is the same language used by pharmaceutical companies in order to push more narcotics. And you can look it up, you can check it, double check it, do whatever you got to do. If you start paying attention to what they're saying, they're telling you everything that they're doing. So I just wanted to bring that up, man. Who are really, any of those people who are really free thinkers and really want to use their brain and stop just feeding on the BS, um, start paying attention, start looking back to what they've said previous and look at what they're saying now. Total different stories, total different language, you know. Same ideas though. Different language, same ideas. And in some cases, same language, same ideas, right? Just regurgitating it. It's just a different product, right? You know, the drug dealer, the dude on the corner, you know, a lot of them moved from weed to crack. A lot of them moved from crack to weed. Different product, same language. So think about that. Pay attention to that. And in sports news, man, Kyrie Irving, man. Man, salute this brother. Salute this brother, Kyrie Irving, standing in the face of an entire industry, standing in the face of the most powerful organization, one of the most powerful sports organizations in the world, the NBA, and saying I ain't gonna fold. Saying I ain't gonna fold. That's powerful. And anybody who's trying to say this brother isn't like Ali or isn't like the complete liars, because that's what Ali did. Remember, they hated Ali. Remember that. Remember, like, all these shoe booty Negroes that they put on TV against Ali. Remember that. Joe Louis, you know. Yeah, shout out. Not saying nothing about Joe Louis. Not saying nothing about, you know, these brothers, but pay attention to how they trotted out uh, athlete, Negro athlete after athlete after athlete to talk down on Ali. They called him stupid. They called him dumb. They called him uneducated. All the things that they're saying about Kyrie right now. So when they try to dispel the idea that this brother is like Ali, they full of shit. Not because of what he done, because of the response to him is similar to Ali. And those are just a few examples. They hated Malcolm. They hated King. They hated Huey. They hated Bobby Seale. Right? They hated all these brothers because they were willing to stand up against the establishment and paid the price for it. So at a certain point, we got to start protecting these kind of brothers, and anybody who tries to come after them, we need to destroy them. Colorless. I mean, it don't matter. Black, white, whatever. When they start to challenge our warriors on the front line, willing to stand up against powers greater than their own, it's up to us to stand up and give him the support. So the brother don't have to play basketball no more. I hope he retire, because I can care less about championships. I can care less about games or playoffs. I hope the brother retire, take his money and go. Make them pay him whatever they need to pay him for the season, and ride off into the sunset. I said the same thing about Kaepernick. I would have preferred him not to make a deal with Nike, but hey, I'm not hating on no brother's ability to make money. He did what he had to do. But I didn't want him trying to get back in the league. I don't want to see Cap in a jersey. Just like I don't want to see Kyrie on a basketball court. They're good. They did it. You know what I'm saying? Ride off into the sunset, be protected for the rest of your life because you stood up and stood strong and didn't fold. Let him be an example. Let him be an example to the rest of these shoe booty Negroes who continue to lay on their back every chance they get. I mean, let's be legit. I'm talking about dudes I thought I'd never see fold like this. Fold with zero pressure. Shit's crazy. And those of you, on another note, those of you who watched the Chappelle special, man, what can I say, bro? For all the people who have disappointed us, and for all the men, the males, for all the males that have disappointed us lately in sports and entertainment, it feels good to see a man be a man, right? Yeah, regardless of what you want to say, whether you thought he's funny, he's not funny, that's a man being a man. telling you how he feels, telling you what he thinks, and telling you what he sees. Not telling you what somebody told him to see. Right? There's a whole lot of dudes out there basically telling you what was told to them. How to feel, how to look, how to dress, how to behave. Here's somebody who said, nah, this is reality. This is reality. If it's a duck, it's a duck. Period. If it's a dog, it's a dog. Period. You can't tell me it's something else. And for that, man, you gotta applaud that. You gotta applaud that. Everybody can get it. Everybody can get it. Right? I used to always think to myself, like, I couldn't stand a brother. Couldn't stand dudes who always barked about what they was gonna do to another brother. You big about what you gonna do to the dude that live right next door to you. You big about what you gonna do. We take you across the tracks. You get into the other neighborhoods, and all of a sudden you scared to death. Scared to do it. You can't do nothing. All of a sudden you yes a bossing in the rich neighborhoods. You a stone cold G in the hood, and now you yes a bossing in the other neighborhoods. That's a coward to me. If you're gonna be a gangster, if you're gonna be a shooter, if you're gonna be a stick up kid, whatever you want to call it, everybody can get it. Give it to everybody. Don't pick and choose who you're gonna give it to. Right? You can't be a hunter in the zoo. Can't be a hunter in the zoo. And what that means is you can't call yourself a killer when you only killing the people around you. If you only killing the people around you, you a hunter in the zoo. And then want props for it. Get no props for that. Get no credit for that. Because you killing in a 3-block radius. Get no credit for that. If you can't take yourself into another neighborhood, into another culture, and I'm not telling nobody to commit violence on anybody, but you can't call yourself a soldier, a gangster, when all you do is hurt and kill your own. If your people can't benefit from what you're doing, you ain't doing nothing. And that's important to say, because I think we're beyond the black and white of it, man. We're beyond black and white of it. This is corporate supremacy, man. Corporate supremacy. The corporations. The Supreme Court ruled a couple years back. Don't quote me on the exact year it was, but they ruled that corporations are people. That corporations are people. And if corporations are people, you know what? They are people. They're human beings. Corporations are human beings. It's just that these human beings are psychopaths. A corporation is a human psychopath, right? These corporations are taking every opportunity to take control and to oppress all people, all poor people. Think about that. All poor people. Now you might think just because you got a job or you got food or you got a place to live that you're you're not poor. No, you poor. You poor. You poor. when the richest, I'm talking the richest people on the planet, on the world, own 88, 89% of all economic control. Now you poor. Now that's powerful because then you got to start thinking about it, right? You start paying attention and you start thinking, oh shit, they mandating people, putting them in the house, and you can't leave the house, you can't travel unless you play by their rules and go by their rules. How people eating? Oh shit, people using Uber Eats and people using Amazon. Hmm. Who made the record profits during this pandemic? Hmm. Amazon, Uber, these corporations. So while they forcing you in the house, while they telling you can't go out and eat, you can't go dine, you can't experience, you know, camaraderie with family, friends, public. Whose businesses are they shutting down in order to do that? Go take a look. Go to California, go to New York. The mom and pops restaurants, the restaurants that's been in the neighborhood for 30 years, the burger stands, all that shit's gone. All that shit's gone. So we got to come to a decision, and I hope people like myself, others who are waking up and are seeing exactly what's really going on, that they start challenging these people. And I'm not talking about those in power. See, because I firmly believe that we need to challenge the ones who protect them. They doing what they supposed to do, right? They got a bottom line. They got stocks. They got stockholders. They got to answer to. You know, they got mansions and islands and everything else they got to take care of. So they don't give a damn about nobody. All they care about is the bottom line, and that's cool. Going after them ain't gonna do it. Go after everybody who is trying to protect them for the scraps that they getting from them. That's what I think. Because once you get rid of all the people who are protecting them, they'll fall on their own. They'll eat themselves. They'll eat themselves. So don't look to mass media. Don't look to the big corporations. Um, you know, I pay no attention to them. I'm looking at, you know, people in the streets. I'm looking at the Vicky Dillards. I'm looking at um, Tyreek, Joe Rogan, um, Jimmy Dore. I'm looking at these people who don't necessarily I agree with. I don't agree with all of them, but I like the fact that they're doing research. I like the fact that they're showing you facts. Um, I like that they're using debates and arguments. If you're a fan of Joe Rogan, if you listen to the Joe Rogan show, if you've never listened to a Joe Rogan show, please listen to an episode he did with Sanjay Gupta. This is a medical professional on a major news network, and he can't defend it. Can't defend it. Now pay attention to that. Can he defend it? If he can't defend it, then you make your own decision, you make your own choices. But if a MMA fighter, comedian, makes more sense than a medical professional, right? If the medical professional is saying, "Oh, I didn't know about that," I didn't know about that study. Oh, I didn't know that happened. Then there's something wrong, my dude. You are the medical professional. You don't know what happened. If you can't tell me what study says what and how many and the percentages, and then how are you an advocate for something? How are you going to tell me my child I should give my child something if you don't have all the information about it? I mean, that's what we've come to. The kids, the children. And at that point, it's all, you know, all the rules are out the window. At that point. Yeah, at that point, it's all out the window. When they start going after the kids, man, it's all over at that point. There's another there's another person you should be following. You should be paying attention to. That's Dr. Malone on Twitter. I believe it's R.N. Malone. Dr. Malone. Now this man is claiming to be one of the architects of the medication, the mRNA medication. He's no one seems to be um, arguing the fact that this man is one of the creators, and you should be listening to what he has to say. Powerful stuff. Uh, Powerful stuff, man. This is from an actual. So when they try to act like, oh, there's a consensus upon all the medical science, that's not true. Here's a doctor who is uh, one of the people who designed, created, and invented the medication, the the stuff they want you to take, and he has specific opinions about what it does, how it should be used, who should take it, and everything else. So go look up that brother, Dr. Malone, on Twitter. I don't believe I'm saying his name right. He did a podcast on Jimmy Dore, JDS. It's another podcast on YouTube. Hour-long conversation, well worth it. Get that information. Now, once again, I'm not an advocate for or against. So, um, I think it's none of your business. You know, I look at the medication like, you know, imagine somebody telling me how big my dick was or asking me. That's how I look at it. Fuck are you asking me for? If I'm not sleeping with you, if we're not sleeping together, there's no reason why you should be asking me whether or not I've been shot up with this shit. See, that makes sense. That makes sense. You ain't got to be around me. You ain't got, you ain't got to get close to me. We ain't got to touch each other. So why do you need to know whether or not I've been shot up with this shit? And if that's not the case, then the other shit don't make sense. If you're protected, then you're great. You should be good. You should be good. You shouldn't have to worry. You shouldn't worry about anybody else but yourself and your family and the decisions that you guys have made. That's where I'm at with it. I wouldn't tell nobody whether or not, if you want proof, okay. If I want to go somewhere that bad, if I need to be there that bad, I have no problem giving you the proof. But let's make it clear. Random people just asking me, I take great offense to it. I take great offense to it. So I suggest, you know, you don't ask me whether or not I've been shot up with the shit. You understand? So let's see if we can get Killer J on the horn and see what he has to say.
Give me 1 second.
Oh, he went to voicemail. Okay. We'll give him a couple more minutes and see if he's able to pick up. See if he's able to chop it up a little bit. So, in other news, I missed it. I didn't get a chance to come in here and talk about it. But our brother Deontay Wilder, in a great fight against Tyson Fury. I watched it. I was present. Um, a great fight. Uh, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion of it from someone who previously fought. I didn't see the defense from Deontay. Now, I don't know if that's something him and his camp just decided that they just wasn't going to um, pick up defensive skills. But I think back to when Floyd offered to train him, and you know he turned it down, um, and I think that was a mistake. I think even if you didn't want Floyd to train you, the greatest defensive fighter in the history of boxing is Floyd Mayweather. I think that's proven. You can't be 50-0 and not be a master at defense. But his father is still here, still healthy. Um, I mean, healthy for his age, but he still has a wealth of knowledge when it comes to defense and boxing that I think Wilder should have tapped into. I think you can't really get any better than the Mayweathers when it comes to defensive boxing. There's no other place you can go to get that. Some people say Freddie Roach, Teddy Atlas. Listen, great trainers. Those two great trainers. But Floyd destroyed Freddie's fighters, Teddy's fighters. So if you're just going by common sense, you know, go to the people where defense is their specialty. We know you have the right hand. We know your right hand can put anybody to sleep at any time. We know this. We know that you have this ability with that right hand. It's uncanny, and that you can knock out any man. We've got that. Why not get the defense? Why not get the footwork? Right? Why not get the defense and the footwork? And he was too heavy. And he was too heavy. Um, you can't protect yourself at a weight that you're not comfortable with, because when you're that heavy, keeping your hands up drains you. People said all kind of things. Okay, well, his suit was too heavy in the second fight. You know, all these things. I knew exactly what was wrong. He was too heavy. He's not used to that kind of weight. He doesn't have the structural foundation to carry that much weight. Basically, his legs are too small. So you either build the foundation, you either create a foundation with footwork and with your legs so that you can sustain that much upper body weight, or you just stick to your natural weight, right? His first fight, brother, I think the brother came in the ring 215 maybe. I'm not mistaken, don't quote me on that. Between 215 to 20, I think, in his first fight. He starts going over to 228, 230. 232. I think this last fight was 238. You're too heavy. You're too heavy. And it showed. The brother was tired after the second round. After the second round, he was tired. He was breathing out his mouth by the third or fourth. And, he sustained a lot of damage from Tyson. And these are hard punches. These are solid punches. But just a testament to his heart and how much heart he had. He still was able to drop him twice. And it was a long count. Those of you who watched, that was a long count. I'm not going to say he didn't beat the 10 count, but that referee was trash. You can't start the count, stop, address another fighter, and then come back to the count. That's not the way it works. Once you start the count, you finish the count. Right? You deal with that other fighter after you finish the count, whether he beats it or not. You don't stop in mid count, go address the other fighter, and then come back and pick up that count where you left it. That ain't right. But needless, he probably would have beat the count. I'm not saying Tyson didn't earn that. He's a great fighter, man. I, for one, didn't go along with the glove stuff. He's just an Aki fighter. He's an Aki European fighter, and he comes from bare knuckle, so there's a difference. It's just he's his style is Aki, so he's going to give any traditional fighter some trouble. He's going to give any traditional boxer some trouble, and if you really don't have the fundamentals, the basics down pat, yeah, you're gonna have some major issues if that's not the case. But once again, great fight. Um, I'm not gonna say I want to see it again. One second. Let me hit JK and see what he's saying. But yeah, great fight. I'm not gonna say I want to see it again. I'm not interested in seeing Fury and Wilder 4, but I do want to see him fight Joshua. I think that's interesting. I think Joshua Wilder um, is a great fight, and I think it's probably a more entertaining and better fight than Joshua Fury. Joshua was lighter. Um, I don't see him coming in super heavy. So that being the case, there's no reason for Wilder to be heavy. So him and Joshua, I think their styles match up better, and I think that's a great fight. I like to see Wilder fight Joshua and then retire. I would love to see that. I would love to see that. I would love to see Wilder take some time, come back, fight Joshua, and then retire with the best knockout record in heavyweight history. I think that's a great look. I think Tyson beats the man that Joshua beat. I forget his name. I don't even know how to spell this. I don't even know how to say his name. The Russian dude. I think he beats him. Right. I think he destroys Joshua. Fury destroys Joshua. So Joshua doesn't want any parts of that. So I don't know if there's a heavyweight that that beats Fury in the next 3 years. I don't see it. I don't see it, man. So, you know, to those brothers, to a great fight, I salute. I think it was a good fight. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. So, something else I wanted to chop it up with y'all about my brother's protection. Oh, yeah. Listen, Um, I'm gonna need y'all to start focusing more on doing your research on the people you surround yourself with and the industry that you're in. Right? I'm seeing a lot of bodyguards who don't know the people around them. Right? It's a part of your job, my man. It's a part of your job to know the clients, their friends, their family, other people in the industry, label mates. It's important that you know who's on the same label. It's important that you know who has the same management, who has the same agent. Do your research, man. Do your research. You make your client look bad when you don't know who that client's friends are. You make him look bad, him or her. You make him look bad. And there's no quicker way to lose a gig than you addressing the wrong person aggressively. There's no quicker way. There's no quicker way for you to get dismissed than you being aggressive with the wrong person. And if you do, it's just because you didn't know better. That's because you didn't do the research to find out. I talked about it before, man. The way I move personally, my style is um, I don't speak unless spoken to. Um, I'm not a very cordial or social person in the field, especially. And that's for a reason. Yes, am I antisocial? I am. But I'm antisocial on the job for a reason, right? Because I'm watching, I'm paying attention. I'm looking at everybody that's um, in my purview. Everybody that I see, I'm taking notes on who's making these relationships. No one introduces you, right? Very seldom do you have a client that's going to introduce you to people. For the most part, depending on your position and what you do, your clients don't want people to know who you are, right? They don't want them to know you personally, right? It's your job to know them personally. And I'm not talking about personal relationships. I'm talking about knowing what they do, knowing who they are, knowing what their business is, knowing what they bring to the table, knowing their value, because that's the business, right? If you're my client's accountant, if you're my client's business manager, realtor, right? I'm going to give you certain leeway and certain access to my client that I wouldn't give normal people, right? I'm understanding that you need more access than other people, right? And I'm not going to embarrass my client by embarrassing you, right? I'm not going to jeopardize those relationships because of my ignorance. And I'm seeing a lot of that. I need y'all to pay attention. I need y'all to go out there, do your research behind the scenes. Now, how do you do that, you say? How do you do your research? How do you find out who's who and what's what? Right? You should know who your client's manager is. You should know who his accountant is. You should know who his A&R is if you're in the music industry. You should know who the producers are. You should know the artists that they're connected to. Right? You should know whether or not the people who did features on the last album. Right? If you're with somebody, they just put out an album, or maybe they didn't. Maybe they put out an album a year ago, 2 years ago. Who are the features on that album? Who are the producers on that album? You should know that. So when they come around and you see them, you automatically know how you're going to address them when it comes to your client, or you have some idea. Now, if your client has any kind of awareness, if if he's seasoned in this business, he'll give you the heads up. This guy's good. I know this dude. I'm doing business with him. Cool. Right? But sometimes they don't. Sometimes they rookies, they young, they don't know just as much as you don't know. Right? But you should know. Check out the vibe. Check the body language. Right? Horsemen have this thing where nobody has a conversation alone. Nobody has a conversation alone. Now that's like, that's a thing of ours, but what that means is if we're out in the field, if we're out in the trenches, whenever my guy's talking to somebody, I'm in on the conversation. Whether I can hear it or not, I'm in on the conversation. I'm looking at the body language. I'm looking at the hands. I'm looking at the feet, how their stance is. I'm looking at the pockets, bulges. Is he armed? Is he unarmed? Is he somebody else's security? Who is he? Let me find out who he is. That's where your mind has to be. Too much reaction and not enough of guys, not enough of us taking a proactive part in protection. Proactive. The mark of somebody who's good at this, the mark of somebody who knows what they're doing, is the shit they catch before it happens. If it's on TMZ, you failed. If it's on the Shade Room, you failed. So, I get it. You tackled somebody off stage. You snatched somebody off the stage. Okay, cool. That's good. But you should have got there before that happened. That should have never happened. And I know dude is they're not gonna like that I said that, but understand something. If you're looking at me do something, if you're looking at me doing my job, that means I didn't do my job. If there's footage of me doing what I do, I'm not talking about what everybody else do. I'm talking about if there's footage of me, if there's actual footage of me doing what I get paid to do, then I failed. I'm not good at what I do. If you know what I've done, if you've seen it, then you might know. You might know what I've done. You might have heard of what I've done. But if you actually witnessed it and got it on film and is able to share that with everybody, oh yeah, I failed. I slipped. I was slipping. Remember that. I see a lot of guys out in the field who want to be recorded doing something. They want to be recorded doing their job. If you've been recorded doing your job, you did not do your job. Please, please understand that. Those of you in the business, please listen to that. Because I don't want to see anybody, especially nowadays, especially now in the climate that we're in, I don't want to see anybody being made examples of because they're trying to get a clip on the Shade Room or on TMZ. That's not a good thing. You want to be seldom seen and never heard. That's what you want to be. You want to be seldom seen and never heard. The only time you hear from me is me doing this. And the only reason why I'm doing this is because I want to see more brothers out there making money, taking care of their families, and not being beholden to an industry that belongs to you in the first place. It's yours. It's your responsibility. Hip hop, sports entertainment, this culture belongs to you. It's your responsibility to protect it. So take that responsibility seriously. Um, Killer J's probably on the job. I just wanted to come in for a little bit and chop it up with y'all. So much has been happening, and I've been away at work, so um, we'll get another one this week. Uh, Something big going down at the end of the month. New York City, shout out. We'll be there. Um, and we're gonna do what we do, rolling loud. So I'll close out like I do, with all due honor and praise to the Most High. We worship Thee, the divine image of my lives. Amen, and good night.